after that, I ended up in Northwestern. And that's where I truly learned that a lot of the spirit and the heart of the legal work I wanted to do was what I learned at Legal Assistance with Aura, and what I learned at Access Living with those people that taught me so much about standing up when you couldn't walk, right? Um, and and so I bumped into Aaron. Finally, Aaron appears in my life. And Aaron is the younger brother of a guy I was representing in a really serious matter. Aaron would come along to all the interviews because we always engaged our students in the cases we were working on, obviously. And just know, as part of the Jesus Christ, the Children and Family Justice Center, which was started and run by Bernadine Dorn, who is one of the most amazing kick-ass women I've ever met in my entire life. She was actually part of the Weathermen Underground way back in the day, and how she worked her way into Northwestern is a whole nother story I won't share right now. But at any rate, and so, Bernadine's thing was, okay, so how do we demonstrate what, good holistic representation is for young people, right? So, so Aaron would come with his older brother all the time, and at the end of every interview, Aaron was very sweet, and he would say to me, "Miss Graves, thank you so much, and just know you will never ever have to represent me. Don't you worry about that." And of course, not of course, it ended up that about 3 months after that, the mother called and said, Cheryl, can you come to court on Tuesday? I'm like, oh my God, what happened to Tony? And she said, no, it's not Tony, it's Aaron. He got into a fight at a video arcade. I'm like, Aaron? She said, yes, Aaron. She said, he said you would say that. Aaron, what? And so I said, sure. I'll be in court anyway. I'll stop by and see what's going on. What do you need? Get there, and I see her talking and laughing with this woman, and I look around and I see Aaron, and he's in the back sitting, because juvenile court in Chicago could be packed to the gills. Looked like somebody was giving out toys at Christmas, except it wasn't Christmas. Um, and it's all black faces for the most part, black and brown faces. And so I see Aaron, and so he's, in one of the back seats, and he's having a good time talking to this other young man. And so I'm getting a little pissed off, like, you're not supposed to come to court and be happy and giddy and seeing people you know. Well, it turned out his mother was talking to the mother of the little boy who Aaron had gotten into the fight with, and Aaron was talking to the little boy he had gotten into the fight with. So basically, they already had some kind of forged some relationship. So I went and I talked to the mother, and she said, I'm so sorry. My son has some mild disabilities, and when he gets to the video arcades, he has trouble playing the games. And so he sort of stands in front of the machines. Aaron, as it turned out, was behind him, and just got really frustrated and sort of mildly pushed him because he thought my son was just trying to just hog the machine. And it turned out that I ended up being called. I didn't even see Aaron. Aaron had already been arrested. They'd called in the security guard had called the police to come in and arrest him. But when we got home, we, based upon my son's description that he felt like he knew him from church, we went to the church book, and lo and behold, there's Aaron and his mom in the church book. So it turned out that they had a long-standing relationship. And so I said, it would be great if we could just talk about what you would like to see happen. Because when I went to talk to the state's attorney, her whole thing was, that boy pushed a boy who's retarded. And she yelled it so loud, and she's pointing over to the little boy. And I was horrified, like, really? This is how you protect the quote unquote victims that you were supposed to be representing? Anyway, a few days later, they went over to the house, and they sat down around a pot of stew at a kitchen table. And Aaron said, he said, I thought you were just fronting me off. I've been standing there for like 15, 20 minutes. You weren't doing anything. And then Joey starts crying. Little boy starts crying. And he said, that's because I don't know how to play. I go there with my cousins. They think I'm stupid. They think I'm retarded. And I just like the sounds and the noise and the lights, but I don't know how to play any of the games. And so Aaron said, "Well, I'm not the smartest, person, but I can show you how to do that." So anyway, that Saturday, before the court date, they went to the video arcade together. And as it turned out, Joey left being able to play like 5 of the video machines. He couldn't have been happier. And so when he showed up in court again, they literally were friends. They had bonded, but they bonded around a kitchen table where they had the opportunity to really meet each other. And that was my first opportunity to see that my whole strategy, right, of trying to, put the witnesses on the stand and argue for this and for that, that really wasn't even what was needed or what was best. What was best was what they did at that kitchen table. And so the that was the good news. The bad news was that the judge didn't. We did a what's called a 402 conference. We went back in his chambers, and I explained this to him. And I know I got a little bit loud because another judge from down the hall came in and said, "Cheryl, I heard your voice. Are you okay? What are you doing? You need to calm down." And I just couldn't believe that this judge couldn't feel and sense and know that that was the best possible way that could have turned out. Anyway, Aaron got a finding of supervision, which meant that, if he stayed out of trouble for 3 months, then, the case would go away. But as we walked out of court, Aaron looked at me and I was not satisfied with that. And the judge was like, it's the best deal you're gonna get. I didn't want a deal. I wanted these people to understand that this boy had done everything right.
He had repaired the harm with the person that he had harmed.
Thank you. How about that? Right? In basic restorative justice philosophy and language, that's exactly what he did. And nobody cared because nobody understood that. So anyway, so of course, Thanksgiving came up, and the day after Thanksgiving, Aaron is out past curfew with his buddies. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just out. They blew curfew. That was a violation of his supervision. Supervision turned into probation. Violated probation on some other thing, driving in a car, and the car was speeding, and he wasn't driving, but it didn't matter. Didn't matter because the law said da 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 da. And once again, that was a violation. And I watched that boy, that beautiful young man whose heart was so sweet and so good, spiral down to the point where probably about maybe 2 years later, we were in court and we just looked at each other and he said to me, "Cheryl, I don't want any more probation. I don't want intensive probation. We've been there, done that. You tried everything." He said, "I want you to plead me to the Department of Corrections." Because by this time he was 17. And so he could be tried as an adult, right? Or his, and he said, I just want to go into the DLC. I said, "I'm not pleading you to the Department of Corrections. I couldn't do that." He said, "You always told me you weren't the lawyer. You weren't just the lawyer here. That this was my case, and I had a say in my case." I said, "And that's true." He said, "And I will fail probation again. Look at me. I failed supervision." I said, "You didn't." He said, "Stop it. Whatever happened, please." And that's the first time I've ever done it, ever in my life. I actually pled somebody to the Department of Corrections because he knew if he went there on this very soft charge, that he would be out in a couple of months. But whereas intensive probation was for 1.5 years. And he was probably right. I know he was right. He wasn't going to survive that. So it broke my heart. It broke my heart. And it let me know that I had to do something different. And so I had already learned about restorative justice, and always remembering what happened to him around the kitchen table, decided that's the route I need to go.